It's week 4. We got your starts, your sits, and the matchups that matter. Let's jump into it. And welcome back to the Standard Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Jono can't join me today, so it's me riding solo tonight for the starts, sits, and the matchups that matter this weekend. So this is really interesting. Things are starting to fall into place or where they should be. I want to jump right into the matchups, but before we do, don't forget, like, subscribe, hit that notification button to stay up to date for all of our future content. You got your start sits, we got your waiver wire pickups. Please reach out to us, drop comments in there for any trade advice, any questions that you guys might have. So let's jump into it. Right into it, we got the Cowboys and the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Right now, the Dallas is minus 4.5 going into this game. The over-under is 44.5. I like the Cowboys to come out there and whoop on the Giants. I think the Giants definitely got an uplifting win last week against Cleveland, but I think Cleveland is a lot worse than we thought they were. The defense has some holes in it. The offense can't protect anyone. The Giants got after Deshaun Watson with ease. The Cowboys have been really good offensively. They got some weapons that attack a banged-up secondary for the Giants. So I do like the Cowboys in this game. Give me some Dak. Give me some CD. I do like Jake Ferguson in this game as well. This is a tough part with the running backs here because there's going to be weeks where Zeke might fall in for 2 touchdowns and Rico might break one off. But it's not really something that at this point you're playing more than a flex play or maybe a daily fantasy play. The only Giant I'm playing is Malik Neighbors. He looks like he's going to get a volume, just a lot of volume there. It's the only person I really trust. Although I would say the Giants, they've been looking good running the football, and Dallas has really struggled to stop the run. So I wouldn't mind if you wanted to throw Devin Singletary in there if you had some injuries that you're dealing with, like say you're an Alvin Kamara owner, and he just jumped onto the injury report. And Devin Singletary is your only other viable back. Go ahead and play him. For most people, it's going to be a sit. You're going to have some better options there to play. I do think that this game gets away from the Giants. The Cowboys should blow this one out. Let's get into the second game of the afternoon, which is going to be the Jets and the Broncos. I love this game. The Jets are getting 7.5, or the Broncos are getting the 7.5 points in this game. Over/under is 38.5. Another big win from last week. The Giants upset Cleveland and beat them. The Broncos went and had a nice win last weekend over a Tampa Bay team that we thought was going to be kind of for real and repeat what they had last year, coming off a big win from the week before. The Jets looked good. The Jets looked in command in all 3 phases of the game. Their defense obviously looked really good, and offensively, Aaron Rodgers looked back to what made Aaron Rodgers Aaron Rodgers. So I like him going forward for sure. I think there's a lot of weapons. It's going to be hard. I know a lot of people are disappointed on Garrett Wilson's production this year. He's not listed in this as a start. He should be a start, but the touchdown capital's there. When they get on the same page, you're going to see Devontae-like numbers with Aaron Rodgers. But until that happens, there's going to be, there's a comfort zone. So Conklin and Lazard last week, big recipients of that. That you saw on third downs, you saw over the play when they needed to play. It was Conklin, it was Lazard that kind of stepped up. I think Mike Williams is going to become more of a viable option, but outside the passers here, how much production is going to go around when you have Breece and Braylon Allen running the way they've been running. And I think that even though the Broncos have had good seasons in the past, Breece Hall has had some blow-up games against the Broncos. He also got hurt against the Broncos 2 years ago. But he's had some really breakout games, big, long touchdown runs in the 2 games that he's faced the Broncos. So I like Breece in this game, but Braylon Allen's playing himself into a must-start flex position week in and week out. So I love him. I'm sitting the Broncos in this game. I think that this pass rush is going to get after Bo Nix. You saw last week, it was a lot of dink and dunk, get the ball out of Bo Nix's hands quick, which the Jets have been notoriously bad against. But in terms of receiving, like you saw little Jordan Humphrey have like a significant impact down the stretch in that game last week. Josh Reynolds has been kind of the steady Eddie, but like it's not viable fantasy. Like you're not getting much of a flex position out of him. So am I going to start any of those guys? Not really until someone emerges. Javonte Williams, I think just go ahead and sit your running backs against the Jets front in here. They're going to put a stop to that. Everything's going to be played inward out, and I think they have the corners to match up. This might be a long game for the Broncos. Let's move on to the next game, which is the Vikings and the Packers. This should be an exciting one. There's a lot of toss-up right now. Right now, Vegas is showing the line at that's favoring Jordan Love playing in this game. I do have the line in this game as the Green Bay being favored 2.5 points and 43.5 for the over/under on this game. This is a team that I know I've talked to Jono about a lot, is the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold's a real deal, and for J.J. McCarthy's sake, his injury took him out this season, because it would have been a real tough pill to swallow, because Sam Darnold was going to win this job no matter what. And we've seen what Sam Darnold is playing at the level right now. There are a lot of weapons around, and they're only going to get more back. I mean, you're talking Jordan Addison getting back and getting healthy. TJ Watkinson at some point is going to be available in this offense. This has a lot of weapons in here. Aaron Jones is one of my favorite players to play this week against the Packers. And the Packers have a good defense. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I would say the over-under on this is being 43.5. I think this game is going to go under here. I think both these defenses are really good. They both can get after the quarterback. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Darnold, but I think that Justin Jefferson is every bit of the best receiver in the league that he's been throughout his entire career so far. And I think a lot of people doubted because Sam Darnold was going to be his quarterback. We saw games last year where Nick Mullins was throwing the football and Justin Jefferson was throwing up monster fantasy numbers. And he's been a consistent target for Sam Darnold so far early. And if that keeps it up, like he's on pace for being, a top 2 wide receiver. And we saw him in a lot of drafts dropping down to the 11th or 12th pick, which is absolutely ridiculous for him. For the Packers, they've won 2 games with Malik Willis. It's all kind of dependent on, is Jordan Love going to play? If Addison, before I jump over to the Packers, let's talk about Naylor and Addison. If Addison does play, I think it drops Naylor down, but he's still, I would say, is a flex flyer. Like if you're going to go throw a sleeper, I'd throw a dart at Naylor even with Addison playing. If Addison's not playing, I think Naylor has put himself into a must-start wide receiver 2 category. He's been consistent. He's getting a lot of red zone targets. You got to love that as a wide receiver 2. And Justin Jefferson is going to get all the attention. They've been running the football really well with Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. So I really like those. If you want to start both of them, if Addison does play, I would start Addison in this game. I think that there's enough volume to go around. It's a matter of who's going to be scoring the touchdowns. In this low-scoring affair, there might be only 1 or 2 touchdowns scored in this game, and you can assume that Aaron Jones is probably going to get one of them, and it's a matter of who's going to get another. Is Jefferson going to get another touchdown? Is Naylor going to stay on a hot streak and go for 3 games in a row with one? That'd be really cool. If that's the case, I love trendy players like that. I love guys that are throwing up consistent numbers, especially if it's like they're touchdown hot. If you're catching a guy on a touchdown like streak, I mean the teams buy into it. I mean it's not like, and he's a number 2. It's not a touchdown streak of a guy that you can go and double cover and take him out of the game. You're not going to shift coverage away from Jefferson to go into Naylor. Naylor's in a prime position to make a name for himself this season. So. Hopefully Addison does come back because there can be a real controversy there. Let's move over to the Packers side of things really quick. So they've been 2-0 with Malik Willis. If Jordan Love does come back and play in this game, there are some players that I think you can throw out there as a flex play. I think either way, if Malik Willis or Jordan Love plays, Josh Jacobs has got to be a start, and I think Jaden Reed has got to be a start. You saw this coming back from last season. The Green Bay Packers design plays for Jaden Reed. They like to get the ball in his hands in space and let him go and make a big play downfield. So if Jaden Reed, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They've been running the really weird, the wing T offense they've been running at times with Malik Willis. It's been great. It's made him really efficient as a passer and open things up for him. And obviously they've been winning games, so that's what they care about there. If Malik does play, I'm sitting him. If Jordan Love does play, he might be a sit too. This is a good defense he's going up against. I know a lot of people were high on Jordan Love. If he does play, I'm going to be cautious. I think that they're going to run the ball a lot in a divisional matchup here, so it's going to be more of a gritty game. All right, let's move on to the Saints and the Falcons. So big news today. This image was made prior to some news. So Alvin Kamara is dealing with an injury. He's potentially going to miss this game this week. We'll keep up to date as to what his play status is going to be. If he does play, you're starting him, obviously. But this game, it's Atlanta is being favored at 1.5 points. And it is over under of 42.5 points for this game. I like the Falcons in this game. I think that the Saints, I said this last week, is they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. The Falcons played a really good Kansas City team and took them on the ropes. I think that, and we saw it in a primetime game against Kansas City. So we know primetime Kirk usually doesn't show up. He had a hell of a game, and this offense looked good. You're starting Kamara. You're starting the running backs in this game. So Bijan, I would say start Drake London. He's starting to come into his own and getting some receptions. Mooney is a sleeper pick. I know we had him as our waiver wire ad. I think he is a sleeper pick for this week. I would start Rashid Shaheed. I think he's been getting a lot of down the field targets. If he would have connected on one or two last week, like he would have a much better stat line. Unfortunately, he threw up a big goose egg, so you hate to see that. And it's hard to recommend to start a player after they throw up a goose egg. But the Falcons defense is good, but they have been susceptible to big plays as well. I like Shaheed for a long one in this game. Olave has really started to emerge after last week. Derek Carr, I'd even say, is a good start in this week in this matchup. So Derek Carr is one of those up and down players. I know he was hot the first 2 weeks of the season, but this is a winnable division. This is a rivalry game. They're going to put a stamp on it. I think Derek Carr is going to show up in this game. Indoor game form, especially if he's without Kamara, there's going to be a lot more throwing the ball downfield. This could be a game where Derek Carr throws for 40 times. So I do like the Falcons coming out on top in this game, however. Let's move right along to wrong. First time at the helm with the controls, so still learning this out. Had to learn how to configure this. A lot of exciting stuff on my end. Education and expanding your knowledge base is great. But we got the next game up is the Eagles Buccaneers. So this game, the Eagles are favored by 2.5 points with the over under of 44.5. This is a game of a team that struggled last week and a team that really was backed up into a corner and had to win a game, especially against a good New Orleans team. So Jalen Hurts, he's struggled at times. Again, it's going to be dependent on, from a pass catching standpoint, who's going to be available for them. Like Jahan Dotson and like Dallas Goedert, especially if Devonta Smith doesn't play and A.J. Brown doesn't play. If those guys don't play in this game, you got to love Saquon Barkley in this game. But the Buccaneers defense is beat up. They're injured. They're coming off a short week. And this is a tough matchup for them. They beat them last year in the playoffs. They come off a really bad loss where they couldn't get anything rolling last week against Denver. Whereas the Eagles they sputtered at times. They had 3 or 4 big plays in that game. Or 2 big catches from Goedert. We had the long touchdown run from Saquon, but outside that, they were held in check for the majority of that game, and it was a really ugly game going into halftime. It had some big plays in it, but defensively, they were hanging in there, and they started playing well, especially against the pass. I think this is a bounce back week for Baker, though. I do like Baker Mayfield in this game. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, go ahead and start them. I'm sitting Rachaad White. But I think Bucky Irving proved last week that he's going to be involved, and he got a lot of touches last week, and it was especially good late in game. I think that the Eagles do win this game on the road. However, I think that this game does go over. This offensive total even being 44 and a half, and I think this game has a chance to go over. I think both these offenses show up. I would sit both these defenses, however. But a lot to like here, but there's a lot of question marks, especially at the receiver position for the Eagles. Moving right along. We got the Bengals and the Panthers. I love this game. I really, really love revenge game for Andy Dalton. Red Rifle returns home. We got in this game. I know I have this. Okay, minus 4.5 for Cincinnati. 48.5 point total. This game is 100% going to go over this. The Bengals defense, they were good at times, but have really, really struggled with big plays down the field. They couldn't stop Washington at all night. I think the Panthers are going to have a big, big week. Deontay Johnson is going to be my start of the week. Andy Dalton, got to love him. I think he continues to throw up big numbers. Probably another 300-yard game, 2 or 3 touchdowns. No Adam Thielen in this game. He was sent off to the IR, but I look for Xavier Leggett to really emerge in this game. He's a potential sleeper for me. Chuba Hubbard, I think you got to play too. He looked really, really good last week. Really get involved in that offense, kind of what we thought he was going to be. And Jonathan Brooks is right around the corner. So he's playing for something. He's playing for snap shares going forward. Because Jonathan Brooks, he might be 2 weeks out from taking some playing time away from Chuba. On the Bengals side, the offense started to click last week. I really liked what I saw from Burrow, from Chase, from Higgins. All of them really started to come up and play to what we thought this offense is going to be. They came up short, but I'm talking about a team that's backed up into the hole. I actually like the Panthers this week. Straight up money line. I had them last week as kind of an upset. I think this is a week they continue, and the Bengals lose again. Bengals drop to 0-4. I know they're playing desperate football, but that's sometimes when you have a good team and they're playing desperate football, either they're going to turn it on, they're going to absolutely dismantle the Panthers, or they're playing nervous and they're feeling like they got to do too much, and you're going to start to see things. But this defense can't stop anything. It's not an offensive problem anymore. The offensive thing is clicking. So that's why I like this game as kind of a shootout. I do like Andy Dalton getting the win, going back to his original team. This is going to be an exciting game. My TV is going to be glued to this weekend. But obviously, you're starting Chase, you're starting Higgins. We're sitting Chase Brown. Zach Mosser, it looked really good. Chase Brown's looked explosive. I just don't think he's getting enough work and enough relevant work. He's not getting goal line touches. Zach Moss is looking good while he's in there and really extending the play. He's been a solid back there, and he's not breaking. I don't think he's ever going to have a Joe Mixon kind of game with 5 touchdowns, but he's efficient enough to allow this offense to do what it wants to do, which is get the ball into the receiver's hands. Moving on to the next game, which is Jaguars-Texans. Woof. I think preseason, I really liked this game a lot more than I like it now. This is a rough game. This is going to be a rough game to watch. Houston is being favored by a full touchdown. You got a 7-point spread on that and 45.5 point over-under on this. The Jaguars have been rough. I mean, I don't know if it's bad play calling. I think I've absolutely lost faith in Trevor Lawrence, and go figure they're probably going to blow up this game. I don't think so. I think Texans cover this game. They're another team that got pushed around a little bit last week. Not a great performance from them. I think they're going to right the ship. C.J. Stroud, this is a great get-right game for them against the Jaguars, who are clearly struggling on defense. They're clearly struggling offensively. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is missing wide-open guys in that game. They looked really, really, really bad against Buffalo, and I think that continues because the Texans are no slouches on defense as well. This is going to be a game where you're starting your Texans. I think everyone has a chance to score in this game. The one guy you don't see up here is Tank Dell. I think he's relegated to maybe a sleeper pick right now, but he's not getting enough volume with Diggs and Nico kind of getting the target share. He's getting the opportunities. He's not converting on it. Now, in 2 games ago, had 2 touchdown plays. He had 1 bad drop that he would have went for a long touchdown. And he's just not taking advantage of the big plays. And if he's only going to see 6 targets or under 6 targets a game, I don't know how much I really like him moving forward. I do like him. Don't get me wrong. It's Tank Dell. He has a lot of potential there, but with the limited volume that he's going to get, he's going to need to be efficient on it. And he's going to need to make catches, and he's going to need to break those catches for touchdowns because he's not getting targeted in the red zone. He's not getting, Stephon Diggs is taking a lot of that. And Nico's a huge man and huge target, so they've been just feeding the ball to him. So Tank Dell, we didn't think was going to be the odd man out. But at this point, 3 games in, he's starting to look that way. If Joe Mixon does play, I like Joe Mixon. Cam Akers looked pretty decent last week. If Mixon doesn't play and Dameon Pierce doesn't play again, then Cam Akers you can fire up as a low-end start. But if Mixon does play, go ahead and start him as well. The one Jaguar I am going to start is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. I thought he was getting the bulk of the opportunities. I mean, Christian Kirk was faded away in that game until the second half, where he started to get 4 or 5 receptions to add to his total. But I mean, the guy that they've been targeting, there are a couple of plays that I alluded to with Trevor Lawrence missing wide open receivers. That receiver was Brian Thomas Jr. He's getting open, so if he gets the ball, he's going to make some big plays, and especially down if this offense can drive into the red zone. You are starting Travis Etienne. I think you got to play the volume at that point. I mean, who are you going to start over him? If you do have a loaded backfield, then maybe send us a message. And if you have like 2 or 3 high end guys that you are trying to debate whether to start or sit him over, shoot us a message. But it's you're starting Etienne if you have him, especially where you drafted him from. Moving on to the Steelers and the Colts. This game is Pittsburgh is getting or Pittsburgh is being favored at 1.5. Over under is 39.5. I would have been really excited about this game. I thought Anthony Richardson he's having a terrible season. He just looks nothing like the guy we saw from 3 games last year. Now, this is not really the defense that you really want to try to get right against. They're going to be after him. The Colts, they were getting pressured all last week. I think that continues this week. TJ Watt's going to get after Anthony Richardson. You're starting Jonathan Taylor though, and I still think you have to start with Michael Pittman. He's going to have to be more involved in this offense if they're going to get right, and if they're going to start to go down that path, they need to get Pittman involved in this game, and that's going to be targeting him early and often. I look for a big game from Michael Pittman. Najee, Warren's dealing with an injury. Najee's dealing with an injury. It looks like Najee is going to play. I'm starting Najee if you are gonna you play him. I think this offense has been good enough. I'm still not starting any receiver. It's really hard when you have an offense that's scoring such little touchdowns as the Steelers are. You're starting the Steelers defense if you play in a defensive league. But Justin Fields, I think he has some upside to him. There's obviously rushing upside if he starts to run the ball more, but they're winning games right now. If winning football is anything, like he's playing decently enough where he is going to be a low-end play. There are a lot of other quarterbacks I like him over, but I think if you are in a bind, if you have some underperformance from your quarterback position, he's going to give you a solid enough floor. He's playing efficient football right now, and you got to like what you see out of him. So I like the Steelers in this game, by the way. I think the Colts are going to continue to lose. They're on a downward spiral. Things aren't looking up for them. They have injuries kind of all throughout their defense, and especially at key positions. And Anthony Richardson just is looking like sloppy plays. So I don't know how much of it you actually enjoy watching. This is going to be a bad offensive game. Daily fantasy, I'm staying away from this. I think this game is going to be an under as well. Now, this is going to be an exciting game. The Rams and Bears. I'm excited to watch this game. I think Stafford is going to pull some more magic out of his hat. I think this game comes down. It's Chicago is getting 2.5 at home, and it's over under of 40.5. I think this comes down to there's the quarterback. Like, who do I trust the most? Is the quarterback and the coach. And I think the quarterback and the coach for the Rams are better than the Bears. I like the Rams in this game to win. This is a survivor pool game for me. I'm picking the Rams in this game to beat the Bears. I am going to start Kyren Williams. I'm going to start Tutu Atwell. I mean, we've seen Stafford have amazing plays downfield and using nobodies. He's great at making great receivers out of nobodies. I'm not to say Cooper Kupp and Puka are nobodies, or any of these guys that are playing here, but they're not these elite guys. Tutu Atwell, I think you have to start. I think the other guys that you like, I know it's kind of a hodgepodge. I'm going to rank them where I'm going to have Demarcus Robinson, the next guy up, and then Tyler Johnson, the guy up after that. But I think Parkinson's going to be more involved in this game. He's going to be a sleeper at tight end. From the Bears side, I am going to start Rome Odunze and Cole Kmet. Looks like Allen is going to be missing another game. DJ Moore is just not getting the volume that we thought he was going to get. I think Caleb Williams, he had a good offensive output last week. He threw the ball over 50 times to get that. But, I mean, he looked really, really, really bad at times in that game. And it was really sloppy play from him. He made up for it with his first touchdown pass to Rome Odunze. And then Cole Kmet is going to be a big recipient of kind of the sloppy play and them trying to get the ball out of his hands. I'm sitting DeAndre Swift. I was talking to Jono about it. I gave him some crap for it. He was on the DeAndre Swift game, train. He's just not been efficient since he's been on this team. I mean, he is awful at running the football. This offensive line is not very good, and they're going to be shorthanded again. They're not protecting Caleb Williams. They're not opening up run lanes. I don't like the Bears in this game. Now, the bright spot for the Bears watching them this season has been their defense. Their defense has been absolutely fantastic in all phases. They've been good against the run. They've been good against the pass. They've been good at turnovers. I really, really like this defense. So that's going to keep them in this game. It's going to be kind of a back-and-forth game, but the Rams are getting pressure, and we didn't think the defense here was going to be good, but their two young draft picks with Verse and Fisk, they have been really, really, really good at getting after the quarterback, and their sack production is not there. But if you watch the film, they're always in the backfield creating havoc. So it's going to do a lot to stifle this Bears offense, especially the young rookie quarterback Caleb Williams, who already looks flustered back there. When you're getting pressure up the middle, it's going to fluster him even more. Although there's a lot of big play opportunity because of that, because he's going to be rolling out of the pocket and scrambling a little bit. So there is some upside to Caleb Williams. I just don't love it for him. I think that the Rams come out in this game and end up winning. On to the next one. On to the next one. We got Washington at the Cardinals. This game is, I have it somewhere, I promise you. -3.5 for the Arizona Cardinals. The over-under is the highest for this week. It's 50.5 points. After the performance from Jaden Daniels, they really think this game is going to be a shootout back and forth. Both these defenses do struggle at times, and so I do like this as an offensive game. This is a game you want to be on. I think if you have them, start them in this game. Start Jaden, start Kyler, start Harrison, start Connor, start Robinson, especially with Eckler not playing. Robinson's going to get a lot more volume. McLaurin looked like he's emerged as kind of a favorite target, especially a downfield threat. I think something clicked there. This is going to be a special season from Jaden Daniels. I'm excited about it. The one guy on here that's kind of off the beaten path is going to be Michael Wilson as a sleeper for us. I think that this is going to be a game where someone else is going to be involved with Trey McBride not playing in this game. I think that Michael Wilson's going to need to step up. It's going to be him or Dortch. Or look for a bigger contribution out of James Conner. But I think that this game is going to go over on the 50 points. It's going to be a shootout back and forth. This is another game from the afternoon slate that I'm excited. This is going to be on the big screen, watching it, making sure that I'm watching every play. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is my starting quarterback, so I love to see the production from him. But I think this is going to be a really, really exciting game to watch, especially with the two mobile quarterbacks. I think you're going to see some special things on both sides. Definitely going to be a game I'm going to throw a lot of same-game parlays on, a lot of player props on in this game. Moving on to another afternoon game, we got the Pats and the Niners to a game I'm not very excited to watch. I think this is going to be a gross game. I think the Patriots offense is going to struggle again. They let up 7 sacks to the Jets last week, and I think this 49ers offense, after blowing the lead last week and this team coming off a loss, they're going to bounce back, and I think that a big recipient of that is going to be the Niners defense. I think they're going to play some shutout ball here, and I am going to start Ramondre. I don't think he's going to put up a horrible stat line like he did last week, 0.3 points in most leagues. Standard leagues at least, but I can't really justify starting any other Patriot at this point. I don't think Drake May is going to come in this game again. I don't think he's going to start, but there's going to be a lot of pressure in this game. I think Ramondre is going to have a lot more volume. He's going to get the yardage. I just don't think the Patriots stay in this game. By the way, this is the largest spread of the weekend. San Francisco is a 10-point favorite in this game. The over-under on 39.5 points. This is going to be a low-scoring affair. I think the Niners get an early lead and never let go and never look back. Kittle looks like he's going to play. Ayuk is going to play. If Debo does not play, I like Juwan Jennings again. If Debo does play, I don't think Juwan Jennings, this was our big caution of the waiver episode, was being almost cautious on if you want to pick this guy up and how much you're going to spend on him, because once this offense is healthy, he's going to be relegated to maybe one more big game. If there's guys missing on this offense, I love him. I love having him and having a share in him. Another big game, I think, from Jordan Mason. And then Brock Purdy, you're going to fire up and start in this game. I think he's going to be getting a couple touchdowns in this, getting the early lead, and then coasting on it. Look for 250, 260 stat line, 2 touchdowns. Hopefully he doesn't throw a pick, but the Patriots defense is pretty good. They're going to lock up Ayuk on the outside with Christian Gonzalez. So it's a good defense, but the offense is just not going to be able to stay pace, and the defense is going to be out there a lot on a lot of 3-and-outs. It's going to be a long game for the Pats. Moving right along, Browns, Raiders. This is going to be a fun game. Browns being favored by 1.5, 37.5 point spread or over under on this game. This is going to be a big defensive game. I think the Raiders, there's a lot of controversy on quarterback on both these teams. They talked about Minshew. He sat last week and got benched. I think Minshew's going to bounce back on this. We've seen Minshew have Minshew numbers, and I think that this offense can operate. And they got to get Devontae Adams involved more. They've got to do it. I'm not just saying this because I have ownership in Devontae Adams. I'm saying this because this offense has to run through their best player, and that's Devontae Adams. So they got to get him the ball, allow him to make plays, get him the ball early and often, make sure that we're not going, you're not getting into these third and long situations, shorten the field. Zamir White's been extremely disappointing this year, and this running attack has been extremely disappointing. Brock Bowers has had a really, really great rookie campaign through 3 games. He's going to keep that up. Go ahead and start him. From the Browns standpoint, I'm starting Jerome Ford, I'm starting Amari Cooper, and I'm not starting anyone else. I think this is another team that might have some quarterback controversy coming up in the future. Deshaun Watson looks bad playing football right now. He looks slow with it in reaction time. He's not making quick decisions. He's not getting the ball out of his hands. He's lost the ability to be moving away from and getting out of sacks. He looks like he's just always under pressure back there. He's getting sacked a lot, and I think the Raiders are going to tee off on him. We might start to see Jameis Winston start getting some snaps at quarterback for the Browns, and this is another offense that if you like air raid football and he's the quarterback, and this is going to be some exciting football. And I think the defense is good enough that you just need some competent play back there. Deshaun Watson is just not giving them anything right now, and it looks bad for these offensive positions. Now, I know they're down in Njoku. They really haven't had Judy or Elijah Moore really step up into a second wide receiver. And who knows when Nick Chubb is going to make himself start to make himself available. But I still like Jerome Ford until then. I think that this is his backfield, and you should start him with confidence. They're going to have to rely on him because the passing game is it's not working for the Browns, and the defense just not living up to what they were. They have holes in that defense. They're struggling to stop the run. So I think that the Browns are in bad shape this year. It's not looking good for them. It's not going to be a nice run like they had last year. Or the year prior. I still like this defense. It's just there's a lot more question marks than what I originally thought. From the Raiders standpoint, I'm starting Adams. I'm starting Brock Bowers. That's it. I know Jacoby Myers had a pretty good week last week. From a PPR standpoint, I'm okay if you want to start Jacoby Myers. I think he's getting enough work to be a low-end flex. From a standard perspective, I don't think it's going to be him. Again, like I said, I think this offense is going to start feeding the ball to Devontae Adams, their best playmaker, getting him the ball and making sure that they're staying in games and staying in manageable down and distances. Next game we got is the Chiefs and Chargers. This is going to be an ugly game, I think, for the Chargers. Kansas City is favored by 8.5 points. It's a 39.5 point over-under on this game. They're expecting it to be low scoring. I think this is going to be low scoring. I think that this is going to be a Travis Kelce game. I think you gotta start him. He's had some big games against the Chargers in the past. I think as teams are going to start favoring Rashee Rice a little bit more and having to key on him, it's going to happen where Kelce is now going to be becoming that guy that's going to get 10 targets in a game, and he's going to convert 9 of them and get about 100 yards. I expect a big game from Travis Kelce in this game. The Chiefs are going to handle them pretty easily, I think. Herbert has a chance of not playing in this game. Derwin James is not playing in this game. The Chargers are down. The one thing that they can do, and you should start, is J.K. Dobbins. Go ahead and start him. They're going to feed him the ball against the Chiefs, and he has been the shining light kind of late round sleeper picks this year. He's been fantastic so far, and I said this in the preseason that if he returns to any kind of the form that he looked like when he was on the Ravens, this is going to be a huge signing and a huge weapon. This is why I really thought Dallas could use a guy like J.K. Dobbins for a guy that they didn't want to spend the money. They didn't want to invest a lot of money into the running back position. He was a guy they could have taken a flyer on. He would have been so good. How much would we have loved J.K. Dobbins in Dallas? That's besides the point. We're talking about the Chiefs. We're talking about the Chargers right now. But think about it. I mean, if he would have went to the Cowboys, imagine that offense right now if they're having a runner like that. He's a Charger. You're going to start him. If you drafted him, good on you. Pat yourself on the back. You hit a home run with this one. If you got him on waivers early on and have been starting him, good on you. Keep the faith this week and start him again. Carson Steele is going to be a start. I think this game is going to get out of control quick. I think even if Herbert does play, I think that the Chiefs are going to win. So Carson Steele is probably going to get a lot of volume. Again, no Pacheco for the foreseeable future. Kareem Hunt's interesting. He got elevated this week. So from a flyer position, I would throw him in some DFS lineups. I would love him. He's probably cheap as hell. A lot of people are probably going to be on him as well. But this early week, it just happened. He got elevated last night. You're going to start Mahomes. You're going to start Rashee Rice. Don't be an idiot. Start your studs. Another exciting game. Bills-Ravens. So Buffalo is getting 2.5 points in this game. I like them to cover in this game. It's a 46.5 point over-under point total for this game as well. I like the Bills in this. I think that we thought that Josh Allen was going to have a fall off. I think that more is going to fall on his shoulders, and he's risen to the occasion so far. He's been spraying the ball out to a lot of different receivers, a lot of people getting involved. He looked really good against the Jaguars, and I know they're a bad team, but he looked really good. I mean, just efficient, confident throwing the football, confident running the football. We love to see that from Josh Allen. That's what makes him such an exciting quarterback. And James Cook has been, mid-round, steal so far. Those guys that waited on running back and got him in the third, good on you. Congratulations. John loves to hear that. He's gonna excite himself to that. This is made for children. Okay, guys. But James Cook has been great so far this season. He's going to continue that against the Ravens. I like Derrick Henry in this game. I like Lamar Jackson in this game. And I like Isaiah Likely in this game. I hated that, Mark Andrews just disappeared another week. And Isaiah Likely didn't do too much either. I think both of them disappeared in this game. But I think that they're going to attack this Bills linebacking core with the tight ends this week. I think the big games are from him. I'm sitting Zay Flowers. I'm sitting Mark Andrews. I'm sitting any of the wide receivers for the Bills. If I did want to throw someone in there and play him, I do like Keon Coleman this week. Got his first touchdown last week. Great play, great catch, great route run, and I think he's going to expand on it. He didn't play the entire first quarter, and so I think he's going to. He made the most of his target. I mean, I think that was only his one target for the game. I think they're going to start getting him rolling. They need a big playmaker on the outside. Kincaid has been there. Shakir's been in there. They were if you're playing PPR and you have Shakir, go ahead and fire him up. He's a start. From a standard perspective, I don't like him. I think the touchdown's going to be lower in this game. I do like the over on the point total. It's 46.5. So this is going to be, I don't think a super high scoring event, but I think they can hit 46 points with no problem with these offenses. But Derrick Henry and the rushing attack with Lamar Jackson, I think they're going to continue that against the Bills. The Bills look good against the run, but this is a different beast when you're dealing with Henry and Lamar. Two exciting quarterback matchups in this game, and we've had some slugfest in this. I like the Bills covering and winning in this game straight money line. Next game, we got from a great game to probably the most boring game from the weekend. It's the Titans-Dolphins. So the Titans are plus 1.5 in this. 36.5 point over-under on the point total for this game. We don't know what the Dolphins are doing at quarterback. Is Skylar Thompson going to be available? If he is, I don't love anyone from this. If he's not playing and it's Tyler Huntley, I think I like that a little bit more. I don't love it, but I think Tyler Huntley is a better option than Skylar Thompson is. This offense is going to be in trouble until Tua gets back. It looked bad. It looked sloppy. It's not being run with the same efficiency. I mean, one of the things that make Tua really good is that he is an accurate short ball thrower, which makes it ideal for Tyreek Hill and Waddle to get those guys the ball in space and be able to break big plays. Without him in the game, it's a lot of anticipation. And when you have a guy like Skylar Thompson or Snoop Huntley, I don't know if they're going to have the same level of anticipation. So you're running a completely different offense with them. You're starting Achane if you do have him. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, I do like both of them in this game. The Dolphins' defense has been good and getting after Levis, but I think Levis is going to turn the corner a little bit. This is a winnable game for the Titans. They got to take advantage of it and hopefully not play like sloppy offense. I mean, you're probably going to have one hero ball moment from Will Levis, which is going to be a complete asinine play. He's probably going to throw a lateral that's going to bounce and be a fumble, being recovered for a touchdown to the Dolphins in a game that's probably going to be 10-7. So it's gonna be an ugly game. I don't really love it. You're gonna start Ridley and Hopkins. I think both of them are gonna start getting involved and getting some yardage down the field. Even though it's gonna be a low scoring event, I don't think it's gonna be 10-7, but you can have a couple touchdowns scored. Go ahead and start both of them up. You got to start Tyreek Hill. You got to hope that he's going to get a lot more volume, and they're going to try to get him the ball and design plays to get the ball out of their hands quickly to at least make this offense look sustainable. I mean, they looked absolutely pitiful last week against the Seattle Seahawks. But that is all we got for you today. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a great solo episode. I love hearing myself talk for 42.5 minutes. I'm going to have to go and chug a bottle of water and rest the vocal cords for work tomorrow. That's going to be fantastic. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Hit that notification button